I did call them.
Okay, welcome to everybody. We'll go ahead and get started, call the meeting to order. I think the first thing is roll call. So Mr. Browning, I'm here. Mr. McLean,
Present.
and he's not with us. Does anybody know how he is?
He was by yesterday. He did not get out the car, but he came by. His daughter came in and said he's just still fighting the fight. It was good.
What's going on with it?
I guess he's sick.
Cancer.
I think he's got various degrees of cancer.
I'm sorry?
Various types of cancer.
Oh,
God bless. Various times.
Well, it's apparently all over the place.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, prostate cancer.
Pancreatic.
Yes, pancreatic.
That's.
So the young lady's coming now, so.
But it was good to see him. I have not seen him in probably a couple of months, but every time I call, verify, make sure she
We're just talking about Hugh. He's not doing well at all.
He's very nice.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So Melissa, Ken Johnson,
Here.
Dana Jones.
Present.
Okay, and welcome to all of our guests. I don't know everybody, of course, we know these two gentlemen very well. I'm Judd Neufeld, and you're with,
Potting company.
I'm sorry,
Potting company.
oh, beautiful. And what do y'all do?
We're a AE firm.
I hope y'all know what that is.
Architecture.
Oh, architecture.
Okay.
What?
Architecture.
Engineering. Oh, okay, I'm slow.
All these acronyms.
No worries, no worries.
And then we also have Bill Markham with us. I gave you all one of his cards, and he's with the round parachuting team, and he also works with Art on the weekends. And he's just here to listen today. I think he might want to talk in public comments, I'm not sure. But welcome to everybody. And I think next on the list is approval of the minutes of the last.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. And I just have a few comments. Again, I'd like to start by saying thank you to each one of you for being here and for serving our city so well. It's an amazing group of people to chair it, and I do thank you for what you. I did have a back in time memory. I think this was Mr. McLean's first plane. You can pass that on if you'd like to. So this is the Voslin 3, and it's a French two-seater multi-purpose pusher plane developed in 1914. And on October 5th, French pilot Joseph Franz and his mechanical gunner Louis shot down a German biplane near Reims to record what is considered the first official aerial combat. So that is something that happened a long time ago on this day in history. And I just thought it was
fighter pilot.
fighter pilot. It is. They say that's the first one. So
Props on the side of the plane.
That's a spare prop, dude.
So
Thought you were a Navy pilot.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously not that good.
you change it in there. So anyhow, that's a little opening thought. Next is public comment. So do we have any public comments? Would you like to make a
I would
comment?
love to, sir.
You have 3 minutes.
Great, thank you. Hi, good morning. My name is Bill Markham, or good afternoon, I should say. Part of the Round Canopy Parachute Team. I'm the president, but I really sweep the floors and just make sure the refrigerators stay full of water. We're the Round Canopy guys that you see a couple of hangers down. We have 2 training events a year, our spring event and our fall event that's coming up this month, the 24th through the 30th. And what you'll see, what we're doing as a nonprofit organization, foundation, strictly volunteers, no one has paid salaries. So every bit of money that comes into this stays with the team, ultimately to remember the history of the paratroopers, where we came from, as well as helping our struggling men and women that have come back. Because there's about 22 of them today that are taking their life. So as the president, I have seen 4 people that are down there jumping that have smiles as big as banana, they can eat a banana sideways is what I like to say, right? So they are living life when they're about to give up on it. So when you guys see this coming on the 27th, you'll see a Huey land here. You'll see a C-47, and then you're gonna see us, a bunch of crazy guys jumping out of that C-47 Plus, you'll see the Huey flying around town, right? So it's gonna give rides. So Patriot rides are available to the public. And we'll set that up. We'll have those two airframes here. Again, I'm just appreciative that you let me come to the meeting, say hello. And again, we're just thankful that you let us do this here because it really impacts people. We have people that come from around the world. We had people from Belgium last year that came for this, or earlier this year from the spring event. And we have some people coming from Norway this year. So as far as Alaska, Washington State, all the way to Maine. So Little Big Palatka, Florida touches the world.
Thank
Questions?
you. Thank you for what you do, sir.
Oh, thank you.
And also, we enjoy seeing it. So we hope it continues and thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments on that? No. Okay, let's keep going. So now we go. Oh, yes.
On the minutes, it's got me as not present when roll call, and I made a motion on approval of the minutes, so I'd like it to reflect that I was here. It says not present at 12:06, but that I was present.
He was late.
You
I
were,
was late.
yeah, but I'll make it more clear.
Yeah, we gotta keep.
Sean present.
It's not worth it.
Came in 3 minutes.
Not worth it.
Right, Sean
Now
present.
we're not.
I mean, he's always late, so you're always gonna have to make a note if you don't come.
John's everywhere, so just always show him.
Let's try to pick on Tom.
Why not?
Give me opportunity.
You want me to put a scratch on your truck? Did I have any?
Sensitive
That's
combination.
all.
Getting all-
Thank you, John. Present.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And we're glad that you're here, sir. Always are. Okay, so now number 4, I think this is you, and again, thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you for
much.
having me. So I'm here to share with you the activity for last month of our fiscal year, which runs October, September. And this consists of the avgas, Jet A, as well as other revenues. All right, avgas. Stay pretty steady. I think a lot has come from obviously local users, customers here. So we've continued to track well, and to be frank with you, on the avgas as well as the jet. Jet was kind of tough the last reporting period. We have the truck online now, so I think you'll see a little bit different than what we saw the previous month. So the truck is online, it's a lease. We're still working through how do we look at procuring. I think we're probably, if the opportunity presents itself, request additional funds. I don't think for the amount of money that was given last year, you're gonna find a new truck. Maybe we can find a smaller truck. But I think we had a 3,000 gallon truck, that was here before.
Did they know why we sent the truck back? Does the board know why we sent the truck back?
Yes.
I think we did, yes.
So, pardon me?
Lease back. What's the lease on that
The
truck?
lease on the truck we have currently is $1,500 a month. Which is, when that truck is available, you have some serious users. You have folks coming here, and unfortunately, there was a couple that we didn't have it available, and they went on.
It wasn't something we took lightly to send
Right.
the truck back, but, they would not budge. They wanted payment, and then they wanted to fix what was wrong with it under warranty. We never had the truck in working condition from the time it arrived on the field. Our position was, once it's in working condition, we'll accept it and pay you, but we don't want to pay for a truck and then count on fixing issues. And my biggest concern was the water leak.
Safety.
And the thing got, and we weren't sure whether it was a design defect, whether it was a manufacturing defect, but you can't have water and gas trucks. Not, it's just
Not there.
not on an airport. So they finally gave us an ultimatum and said either send the check or we're going to pick up the truck. And
Have at it.
We'll be here.
It's not the only one out there.
No, and believe it or not, some really good, the truck we have now is actually a used truck. But the condition that it's in is impressive. So something that's, 3-4 years old, is a truck that's been proven to be pretty good. Plus, we got it from our fuel provider, Titan, which is solid in terms of the integrity of it. They're our partner. That's where we purchase our fuel from. Unfortunately, I don't think Titan is in the primary selling of trucks, business. So, we just have to, work with colleagues internally, on the grant side and kind of see how we kind of figure out what the long-term solution. So,
Comment, Mr. Chairman? Make comment.
Yes, please.
So I'm assuming that because, the people by jet don't want to self-serve over there, right? So that number should theoretically all bounce back next month with the truck online.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have guys coming in, Challenger 600s.
Yeah.
That's, now we had one go to the farm, the service, but we took care of them. But when you have those level guys or larger coming in, they want to pull up, get their service, kind of like valet parking.
Yeah.
People want the service. And, unfortunately, we missed a couple, well, actually about 2 or 3, I would say. But as the city manager stated, I will go and lean to the side of safety any day over $1. So I think, through his leadership, we made a good decision. I'll be frank with you. So, also kind of part of this specialty here of September is, as I stated, it's the last day of our fiscal year. So I'm in my 5 days of my first fiscal year with the city of Palatka. So inheriting a budget and having your own is totally different. So I am looking forward to tweaking some things here, as I'll show you here shortly, the breakouts of the different revenue sources and streams and those kind of things, instead of just having a bunch number. I want to provide you guys with a little bit more insight, to, where are some of these drivers, because some of these things we can start kind of marketing, tie down opportunities. Folks call in from surrounding area wanting T hangers and those kind of things. I have T hangers available, but we have tie downs available. And believe it or not, a few have taken us up offer because geographically we've been in that box that they were more comfortable with. So we're going to tweak these and just kind of break out the different revenue sources for you. That way you can have, again, a good idea about, where we're trying to take this. There's a difference here. I think there's a aspect to this is worth mentioning is, we have so many hangars and they pay so much rent. I think typically people would think, well, we share the same amount every month, but that's not the case. Different people pay on different time schedule. If I got 90% of my folks paying up front or the first of the month, when it's due, you would probably get closer to that same number each month. But when you have people that may come in and say, they may not get applied to the current month setting in or we're reporting on. Another interesting part about some of the customers here is some may come in and say, I'm gonna pay for 6 months, or I'm gonna pay for a year. So that can cause some differences here. The reason I try to show you guys year over year, in a more developed program, a developed airport, you should use it as a good indicator about growth. I think we're still working through the airport program here, but I want to at least show you guys, these are some numbers and this was your look a year or so ago. As we continue to develop this, I would certainly suggest use it as an indicator because this is going to be driven by a lot of marketing and pushing some things out to the community, users, developing relationships with these guys. So, I'm trying to get us there to some more consistency with our reporting. I know we kind of tweaked it a little bit. But, September wasn't a bad month. I would tell you, most any place is doing 70,000 at least a month. Is not bad. We've ranged from, I think, 70, 80, $90,000 a month in revenues. You run it out 12 months. That's not a bad operation. We just gotta continue to develop it and tweak it. That's the totals, difference. Improvement projects, a project that's moving along pretty good. I believe that we've extended it out from January to February, or was it just in the grant request?
Yeah, nothing's really changed.
Okay, so
We
January.
still would expect completion in January.
Okay. So foundations, and you can see the foundation, it's come along. I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, that's additional revenues for us. We may not get the full fiscal year in there, but at least we'll get some. I don't see any delays in leasing once we get the certificates of occupancy and the appropriate conclusion of the project. We'd love to see some additional T hangars, but obviously we also want to see some much larger hangars because those are going to be your Jet A guys. There are some bulk hangars out there that we can accommodate, your Afghans guys, but as I've shared with you guys from day one, we have to have a balance. We have our core customers, the local customers, but we also got to really start growing the corporate side of the house. And if we can get folks who come here and house their jets here, that's a good place to be.
So, can I ask a question just from this? So it really is impressive. I get to watch it pretty much every day. And so you're digging the retention pond and using all that dirt to build all the ground up around.
They have the concrete pour scheduled for early tomorrow morning. As you get the picture there, that's all the rebar and stuff for the slab and foundation.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so
And how thick is the floor?
I think it's 6 inches.
Wow,
Yeah.
dude.
And then the footer's addition.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Wayne, I had a question. So the revenue picture, I really appreciate. I was sort of wondering about the expenses, like what are the margins that the airport is generating for the city? The truck, how is that accounted for in the, gas sales? Just, what is the benefit that this operation means to the city?
So, fine question. Fine question. We're not there, but we can get there. And it's just a matter of putting some programs in place to, the airport is enterprise fund. And you have to, set it up and there are solutions out there, FBO softwares and those kind of things that help us to really consolidate fuel sales, hangar leases coming in. And, that's one of my goals. I have that in the budget to help us to be able to really look at these are the revenues, these are the expense. So city manager, maybe you can help me out here, but I think we can get there with some solutions with technology. And the way things are happening now, are not necessarily unusual. They're just different. You know, we just got to get up to speed with some different programs.
It isn't a moneymaker for the city right now. The city still subsidizes the operation, but we've got some debt service coming off next year. And when the debt service comes off, that'll be a big deal. And
Without the debt service, it's making money.
I'd have to look specifically. It's close without the debt service, but I don't know if it's making
There's
money
still some repayment back to the general fund too.
from previous.
That's right.
I think we heard that from the
Yeah, if we
financial
don't-
office, so not that long.
Yeah,
ago.
we're making
We're
money.
breaking
Makes
even.
good money, but the city takes some of them. It used to be they didn't. But they're taking a certain amount out. So when we as advisory board, I think what I would like to do is just look at how much we have year to date coming in, how much year to date we got going, probably have that. And that just gives us kind of a thing that, you know, what the city does with it has nothing with it to do. I just want to see how the operations, if you didn't have the city, if it was a private person here, how would they be doing? And we've done that before.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely no problem in
We look at
doing
that and then. and
Years
then-
in.
When you say take money, all we do is take a portion of
I understand.
the expenses and apply to the administration from the city that's involved. That's, you know, it's not like we take a percentage for a
But
grant.
I've always liked looking at, okay, if it was standalone, here's how much money it takes in, here's how much money it makes, here's what we have for administration.
It's a great thing to do.
And then we kind of amortize, which they've done anyway, the debt, because the debt's keeping coming down now pretty low.
It is, no doubt.
What is the debt, total debt on it now?
We don't have a finance director
It
right
ain't very
now.
much.
I don't know it offhand.
I think
But
it's
the
like
debt-
3 years it will be done.
The debt service in this budget that we in 5 days in, I think it was $100 and some thousand.
I was gonna say 160,
I
but
was
I
gonna
could
say
be
170.
wrong.
30.
If we continue the way we're doing, we're gonna be out of debt.
Next
Well,
year.
Next year, the year after.
On the long term, and then there's some to be paid back, but, you know, for instance, in the budget, we've added a couple of personnel positions this year, part-time. I think you would have wanted more, but you always have to go through that balancing
Okay.
process. And but no, I agree with you. I think it's going to get there, and I think he's had some great ideas. And you know, I think that the trend and the track we're on now is very positive from the Air Force perspective, and you know, as it relates to the city's budget as well. So, there's be a little bit more of a revenue influx.
Absolutely.
I did have one question. I noted on the hangar rent that that it was lower this year in September than it was last year. Is that a timing issue, or is there something vacant?
Yeah, there's nothing vacant. As I shared earlier, people pay at different times, and when they pay at different times, it's applied at different times. So everybody's not coming up on the first of the month saying, "Hey, listen, here's the hangar rental." So whenever we do these reports, you know, we're kind of waiting around and seeing, okay, so what's been applied to this month and what's not. So when the people come up saying, "I'm gonna pay for 6 months," you know, and they're giving it to us in September, you know, that is not going to run across 6-month period. You know, so it's causing this influx. What I'm trying to do is better understand how can we capture the revenues for this report for you guys to make sure that we are capturing, you know, it should be 100% in terms of reporting. You know, so if you got 70 hangars that everybody pay their rent, the rent should be the same. But if somebody come in here, half the people or 10% of people come in and pay 6 months in advance or a year in advance, some people do.
Well,
We don't have any way to defer the
But
income.
if everybody pays,
Mhm.
if it's 100%, we're waiting list of 200.
Right.
For me, what I want, and y'all, your role is, and y'all are different than us. I just want, as an advisory board, to kind of say, okay, we got 25,000 should, in theory, we got 25,000 a month coming in, that's what you're saying. We got 20,000 a month going out, something that really for our level, which is not as deep as your level, I would like to see how much a month, if they're all rented and everybody pays sometime or another, like this year, we throw them out. Then we should be able to say, okay, this is what it brings in, it should average, and this is what it comes out. Because otherwise, we're caught up into more into the books of it. And I'm not sure that on this board, that's really, maybe if something got under it, everybody pays. And if they don't pay, I hope we throw them out. But if everybody pays sometime during the year, we should know on a monthly basis what the amount should be instead of what's in the back. You're showing us what actually came in. That's great. But for me, I'd like to know what is it we billed for the month and what is it we spend. Because at the end, that'll work itself out. Otherwise, we're accruing and trying to figure out what you said, you know, is this, or is this, so if that's, I don't know how anybody else feels. Kind of my head around where we are.
We generate those numbers for the budget. So, I mean, if you want to see them on a monthly basis, no problem. See any
Just the
problem with it.
basic numbers. We don't,
An extra page.
yeah, just something, I just like to know how much, here's what I look at. Without any explanation, I say, gosh, we raised the rent, we got less money coming in this month, we did this time last year. That's really what we're saying. That poses the question, is that because they aren't paying? Or is that because, but there is a reason for that. If you raise the rents, you got the same number of payments, and you know how much comes in, it should be more. And that's what I'm trying to say. So if we could know why isn't five hangers aren't paying or whatever, it's something. I don't want to complicate, maybe y'all won't care. I just want to look at this simple.
Yes, sir.
A quick note version of where we stand, and maybe I missed it because I wasn't at the last meeting on building private hangars here, where we stand with that. Where are we in the process of review?
So the leasing policy was approved by the city commission. And we do not have any formal proposals provided to us. The area, the priority area, still here on the approach, okay? So that's going to need to be addressed from an environmental standpoint, okay? It's part of it. And that's not shovel ready. And, you know, we get calls, people are interested, but we don't have anyone that's ready to break ground. And even if they were, it'd be 6 months or so. And working with our partners, Pacero, to get this addressed over here to be accessible.
So are the proposals in the form that we saw when we went over this a couple of meetings ago at City Hall?
The leasing policy?
Yeah, well, the proposals that you're looking for from private entities, are they in that format that you presented to the commission?
Have any proposals anymore?
Yeah,
They were full.
No, not a specific, but the guidelines that you. had
Yeah,
talked
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. So if someone calls, you know, these are the areas that they'll be submitting something to us following. You know, so we don't know, you need to know who they are.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right, Mr. Hill, are you done?
On a separate note, we went through the hurricane
Oh, yeah.
here recently, and you know the airport was impacted, you know, minimally. You know, we had some funding going on, but the facilities, you know, it wasn't affected. It's bad. We do have a note amount for the runway edge lights are out. We believe that that's probably a lightning strike. It's isolated at this point, so we're working with Trinity to kind of verify, Trinity Electric to verify what's really going on. But there's no other section on the airfield that's not impacted at this point. So, but a NOTAM is out.
All right. Do you have any comments on any projects?
I mean, really, the one main active one is the team measure that you all know about. We do have a design project which hasn't started yet for the pavement over here at the fuel barn and the taxi lanes back over there adjacent to the hangars. Right now, it's just that's the current FAA grant, which is executed. The city started on it yet, but going to construction next year. That's really the only other current project.
And I missed 4, and I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention, so maybe we can pick that up now. And I don't know a lot about what we need to talk about the next half hour, but on the last meeting, we brought to light that we need to talk about rate increases on hangars. Thought any more about that, but I think that inflation has hit everything every one of us do, and our bills have gone up, whatever percent, a lot. And so we probably need to be talking about a recommendation of rate increases sometime on hangar rates. And I know nobody likes that topic, but you have to be real, and real is it's got to go up sometime. And so, we need to have some discussion on that.
Has the city manager or the city council said anything to us about it?
No, we talked about it in a pre-meeting, and you and I have, or he's discussed it with me briefly a couple times. But, I think like everything else, it's going to happen. We went up $25 at the last one, which is for maintenance. And it really didn't have a lot to do except for maintenance on that $25. So, I think somewhere along the line, we need to be thinking about some, and I think you've done some research. I don't speak to that at all.
Well, just in general, because I actually did the analysis, but just for today's conversation, I'll let you know that I looked at it from the standpoint of, what have been internal approaches and efforts to review, evaluate the rates, but also looked at from external, and I looked at the 50-mile box, so I'm a pilot, aircraft owner, I'm looking for a place to store my aircraft, I'm calling around, what is the airport of choice for me? So in our box, I want to call it, we are low. You're quite low, to be frank with you. And I don't believe in trying to break the back of our customers, our local customers. But there need to be some degree of an adjustment. And all is not equal in a sense, because you have the storage hangar guys and gals, or at least in their facilities. And then you have your commercial guys. Well, we need to make sure that the facilities are up to par before you try to increase rental rates. So there are some exceptions in raising the rates to this. If a tenant has a floor, has a crack running through it, raising the rate is not probably a good idea. So, I certainly would suggest us have this conversation. It's not as immediate as I thought it would be, because we need to clean some things up. I think your storage customers, can get there, but right now,
What do you mean by storage customers?
T-hangar customers. Yeah, so they're they're storage facilities. But your commercial guys, Whiskey 1, 2, and 3, those guys are providing a service. And obviously their facilities need some help.
Do you have any count, and I should ask you this probably on the side, but of how many of our T hangars actually have operational aircraft in them?
I do not, and the T hangar assessment.
Bag of worms there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, but that's a, I
A
know,
lot of them, though.
yeah, that's a fine question, but we have to get there.
A lot of our people, they have a little plane, they don't fly too much. They work. That's a story.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
that's why I thought you were referencing when you said storage folks.
Yeah.
I thought you just meant the two we talked about last month, so glad you asked the question.
Sure, I took the same thing.
so
It doesn't matter, they're paying the rent, not bothering anybody.
Right. But from a compliance standpoint, we supposed to be doing annual. Okay, so I'm just letting you know, we supposed to be doing an annual inspection. You know, so, and
You
again,
come out on the facility?
Yeah.
The facilities?
In the hangars.
in the hangars.
We are, aren't we?
Well, I've been here for 7, 8 months and we have not gone through every hangar. And I have not seen a report here that says, okay, this is what was done in 2021, 2020. You know, but I'm not saying every airport does it. I'm just saying we have to be sensitive to compliance.
They got so many other problems. They don't-
Right,
Get into that, you know.
right.
You're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
end
Do
up-
we have access to everything?
You got a lot of time, you're gonna have yourself a lot to do.
Oh, yeah.
If you do that, because you're gonna go down and find John Doe, he's doing what he's supposed to, and now what are you gonna do? If you don't do him,
Oh, yeah.
the next guy's gonna, and he's gonna say, well, you're gonna make me do this, and you go down, and he's got all, I'm gonna say to you, I think, let's fix up the hangars.
Yeah. I
Let's
gotta
go
look
out
at
here.
them to do that.
I mean, you know, we got them over here with rust on the outside, we've done some. I think that's important. As you said, if we're going to talk about going up on the rent, we do have people who are at these other places. And I'd like to make the place better looking, make it better, where they feel like they're getting their money.
Didn't we just have a big painting project in the last couple
We
of
are
years?
doing it, it's better, but we don't have it all. We up the rent $25 a month in order to do additional maintenance, and we're doing that. And it's better. I think we might have to up it a little more and keep doing that money to make the place better. And then once you get better, you get more.
We have budgeted money this year for maintenance.
We do. We do. I will say that the budget that the city manager working with is pretty
It was
good.
better when you have a plane out here.
Well, no, oh, no, actually, the budget compared to last year's budget is pretty good. I like it. It's certainly a good starting point, you know, so.
If y'all don't be nice to him, you may not come back the next meeting.
But you know, guys,
It looks cleaner, I gotta tell you. It
Right.
looks cleaner out here. You've done some painting on some of those hangers down there on the trim. I think what you're saying, you're absolutely right. Let's make it look good. Take the money, make it look better. And let's not raise rents because of everybody else is. Let's try to do it to where we make it better airport. From an advisory thing, I feel like
He's got to be able to look at what's needed.
that's their job. Is
That's what- that's
again,
my
the
point.
money, the
Right.
making the balance is theirs. Ours is to advise on making the airport a better place to come, I think. Isn't that it? Rather than get in the weeds, you're not going, we don't have enough facts to get into the other stuff.
I think the city appreciates your input though. And, from a business perspective, as Sean know about the flood now, from a business perspective, you know, there are a lot of factors to be considered. One of them is supply and demand. we don't have any more hangars we could make available to anybody. So, and as far as other places around, I'm not aware of anybody that's got vacancies right now. So there's that blend of, you know, how high you raise the rent, but the factors probably aren't factors of driving away demand, because you're in a pretty good situation here. It's kind of like Angel's Hamburgers are in the others around.
That's right.
So,
At least three of
so
them.
when you raise the price by 50 cents, it doesn't matter whether McDonald's is lower than you are.
Well,
I could have said that, Don. I hope you wrote that one down. Yeah, we need to have that recorded.
Hey, Judd, can I raise my hand?
Oh, yes, I didn't see you. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
Just a couple things to add. 2 years ago, there was a small study done in Northeast Florida. There was between 300 and 500 people on T-hanger waiting lists from Palatka to Fernandina. There was never a cross-reference to find out if some people were on multiple lists or not. But that's what the number was about 2 years ago, between 300 and 500. And I want to know one more thing to Ewell. Ewell, I think there was a requirement, I don't know whether it's annual, of verification of N numbers of every aircraft based at the airport. And that's actually one of the mechanisms that airports use to go T-hanger by T-hanger to say, I need to physically see what airplane is inside that hangar so I can log the N number into the national database, because that's how the FAA is documenting how many based aircraft are in Palatka. I don't know the frequency, how often that occurs, but I do know John Ewell had to do that. And I think it's at least once a year, perhaps. So somewhat relevant to this discussion of knowing who has an operational aircraft and what's in the T-hanger.
Thank you, Andrew. That's very valuable information.
I hope you could hear me okay. I can't really tell.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So you study and found that we were significantly lower than surrounding areas. Do you, like, by what percentage? I mean, or what dollar figure?
It varied. You know, I will share with you that the rental adjustments to get us in a competitive range would range from, on any given tenant, you know, would range from $50 to probably 85 to 90 bucks.
Well, what we'd like to do, though, I think, is instead of just putting this out for open discussion, I think that what we had talked about doing was kind of getting some information together for you and bringing back information. And I'm sure you did, but from the perspective of look, exactly, yeah, everything like
Everybody's gone up.
like the chairman said, nothing's priced what it was a year ago. But we'd like to bring it to you and show what we're seeing in terms of the surrounding areas, the box that the airport manager talks about and where we are. And then, you know, from that point, I think maybe we can more intelligently discuss whether it would be advisable to go up, and if so, what kind of number. I agree with what you said, John, about, you know, we're not out to try to be the highest in the area any more than we are on our gas prices. On the other hand, if we're going to try to operate as a business or a self-sustaining facility, then you don't want to be the lowest in the field either. And certainly agree that we need to keep up with our maintenance and continue all that process for sure. You know, that extra money does help, especially since, as I said, we noted earlier, you're not generating enough so that you're putting back at the city. Actually, the city's still subsidizing. That'll probably change someday. Who knows where the world's going with general aviation, but that's what we'd like to do. So we'd like to bring some numbers back to you and show you where we are, what we're thinking about, and, you know, then we can talk about those in specific terms.
Beautiful, thank you. And I personally think $50 a month would not put us in a bad spot and do a lot to make up for the increased expenses that every business is facing. Every one of us that do a little business, we know that. Sky high, I mean, truck by truck, you know?
Don't be putting it on.
I had one for you, Wayne, that
Yeah.
I thought you might enjoy. You came up with a great idea that along that wall, talk about beautification of the airport, along that fence right there, that maybe you could put up a new fence, you know, with deck on it and blind out those other ugly old hangars, you know, and make it.
They have to be 300 feet from the center line.
300
Put all those would come down. They made them bring all that stuff down all over town. It's been a big mess.
We're just thinking privacy fence, you know, with.
Definitely take that advice, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would make us look a lot prettier if those ugly hangars
Thank you for
weren't
this
shining
suggestion.
on us every time we look this way. And I don't think he's ever gonna paint them, so it would be a nice thing.
Talking about
Yeah,
old Malcolm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll take that under advisement, thank you.
It's hard to do side the road anymore.
I've been along the fence there.
Yeah, it's hard to do anything, even, especially if you have a name on it. It just came through. I've gotten 100 calls on it. I like it at the school, all of them came down, all around town. I'll say it. I won't say it. But anyway, there's a new guy doing it and he came through. It's on the books. You cannot have signs that do not have a permit for each sign and do not pay and do not do. And so it's kind of like going through the hangars. Same thing happened. They've gone through here and a lot of signs are not in compliance. I'm just making the point. Don't put any up till you look at the rules. You're going to get busted before you get them up good. And when you try to go down a fence, which is logical way near a road, you know, you could sell that obviously, but it's not always.
We're just talking agenda items. I was just curious if we were
How
going
do
to
we get
discuss
on that?
the fly-in.
That is, yes, and we do not have an update unless you have something new.
I do not.
We reached out and we got no answers, so.
Like you're saying, we don't know if they're doing it
I
either.
do not know it. I don't know anything.
Looking at the Friends of, whatever it was, the Friends of.
KR.
We should try calling
Why
Lara.
do we normally have?
I'm sorry.
Did y'all reach out to Lara?
January
Yes.
was-
February.
You got no response?
Yeah, she actually came over and dropped off a lot of stuff from the fly.
Brought back stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah. Asked.
I see that.
It was a lot more than they thought.
It was,
And it was,
they found out what we found out, a lot of work.
Well, they found out something that we didn't know. You can charge admission. I
and
thought that was a great
well,
lesson.
they learned something that if we had done the good things that they did, we might still be doing it because you could have hired people. Because they collected a lot of money. It was- Trucks made that some of.
It's a lot of work.
Just as somebody who may not get a vote, y'all come up and spring this on the city 65 days before the event, like the Blue Crab Festival did. I'm gonna be
Yep.
very much opposed.
We're gonna tell them you knew about it.
And I'll tell them what I told you about it.
Well,
I'm sorry I brought it up.
no, I'm not. I want to go on record again as an advisory board member. This group here, take that on again and do it.
I'd say if we wanted to do something, it sure would have to be a lot different than what that grew into.
I want to do something, whatever that means.
I think somebody else does it or it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There's just so much now in the
It was so
details.
good. You know what? we got the benefits. It was so successful.
They did a good job with it last year, but I have every idea that what you're seeing right now is their reaction to what they did and what their results were last year. I mean,
A lot of work.
it was a lot of work.
It's a charity event, really. That's, unless you have a lot of money to throw away. So also, you know, along with that last meeting, we mentioned a food truck Saturday. I think, did you spur that thought? You know, that someday suggesting that somebody, maybe the round parachuters or somebody does, you know, literally every third Saturday, have a food truck Saturday at the airport where all these pilots can fly in. I mean, that's a big deal. And pilots love to fly to eat. And we no place to eat, even though we've talked about it for 20 plus years here. And we have no courtesy car. I remember I shouldn't have said that word, but we don't. So there's no way for them to get from here to a restaurant. So, you know, it would be nice to have a food truck Saturday and where we let the food trucks come in, and even if it was just the one, what's the one that does the barbecue here in town, our local people?
You'd probably get them to come. I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing it on the riverfront. I guess we're still doing it.
Everybody's doing it. Yeah. So as you get more people doing it on Saturdays, you know, you can get them to come once,
So depending upon what kind of,
but depends on
Yeah.
what, I mean,
Volume,
they're
yeah.
doing it to make money. And if they don't have enough volume, and I think I just don't know there's a volume of people here yet to do them.
You'd have to have something to attract
We have-
general residents here too.
So
like
in
not
our,
just
our
pilots.
little place down, you know, at
Oh,
2000
right,
Reed
yeah.
Street, Moore Yard, we have to get the food trucks we want, we literally have to guarantee. Always not an issue so far, guarantee them X number of customers.
Where you got it in your downtown, you got it closed.
But let me tell you, the ones that are popular make a killing.
What's that one that was at Ace last Saturday or something?
That's a coward.
So we had,
He always does.
Yeah, he does great.
He's done all he wants to do.
No, he still did. I talked to him yesterday. I think yesterday I talked to
But he's
him.
happy. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know
He
if he's
picks where he
gonna
wants to
do
go.
it.
He does pick where to win.
Yeah,
He told me he picks and chooses. Yeah,
absolutely.
he's not gonna.
You'd
Now,
be
the one that
surprised what
got
some of
it-
those folks make down in Blue Grass.
St.
I
John's
know,
Marine
right?
Building in East Palatka, that Mexican, he kills it.
Chick-fil-A truck isn't doing
My
bad here
neighbors all
either.
mad, my neighbors call me all the
You
time.
get Chick-fil-A truck to come out here, he'll be
I
a
was gonna say,
destination.
yeah, he'll be a
They'll
destination.
come just to go
Get
eat.
him to come out here, you got it right.
Which can be arranged.
So hard to understand.
Arranged.
That's
They
what
just let people, it gives them Facebook, Chick-fil-A's trucks in the old church parking lot. Next thing you know, they got lined up
Hundreds.
100 feet.
They don't have a full menu. That's the crazy part.
So I mean, our goal again would be to get pilots to fly in here to buy fuel. And I think it's something that we
Are
should
they
think about.
flying again yet for the pilots flying? Is a recession hit the flying industry? I know
As a recession hit your area.
Not really.
it's about the same.
The weather, you know, all summer, you had 2 hour window each day that you could actually fly.
Yeah.
And other than that, it was garbage. But on a food truck on that side, if you want on that, I know Arcadia, they always advertise they have Taco Tuesdays. And they got very popular, of course, that's before the storm. But they were very popular, but it did take some time to build up.
Yeah.
To that point, but they got to be a destination, and it was during the week. And you'd be surprised how many pilots would fly in.
Yeah.
Just for an excuse, you know, just for an excuse. And I'm also in the Old Farts Flying Club, which they'd go, and this is basically South Florida. They would go places, they would have 30 to 50 planes on the group, and it was just a loose association that put it out, just, hey, we're going there. And that's just to give you an idea as to what the possibilities would be. They tried to do it up here, because I was up farther north, but it was the summertime and weather. They usually do it just in the winter time down there, where you could have, you know, you could fly in the morning and don't get rained out by afternoon. But there's a lot of places around here you can go to within an hour's flight. And I was amazed how many planes, I get all their, you know, stuff, and they get 30 to 50 planes, sometimes, more.
I think the
50 people-
weekday would be better
50
than a
people ain't
weekend.
gonna get in
50
no
people
fuel
ain't gonna
food truck.
get you a
So
food truck in here. I mean, that's, you're gonna be
No.
paying, a lot of people will pay a truck to go.
what do you know what your guys, what your trucks serve, how many people they serve on a? given
So
day?
it depends, like, okay, so this week we had 386
Yeah.
from Benel. They served 184 people.
Planes carry usually more than one person.
Hey, I'm all for it, but just,
Just as
I
an
just
example.
think, you
I
know,
think
we
a
gotta
weekday
realize
over a
it's like a
weekend,
average
business.
is
because
about
people, GP and
Average is
close
50.
proximity,
Yeah.
one minute, they might come and add to the next if they had
You've
somebody
got-
to know it.
You've got an audience that pull up there too. We're here with no audience. Look outside, there is no audience.
Yeah.
You gotta bring every single one of them in. I tell you, the food trucks are great, the ones that do great. And others, that's why they're always being repainted, because they're being resold. It's not the same truck, right? It's the same trucks you're seeing. They're different trucks, same dang trucks. Because they go for a few months, they sell them, they repaint them, and they're a new truck, but they're not. New products, and I'm just telling you, you get like the city on the riverfront, where you can get people,
everybody doesn't like airplanes like we do.
it's like, yeah, I think it's kind of like the hangar deal.
They
Look,
like the
you could double the rent on the hangars. I'm convinced you could double the rent and fill it. If that's what you want to do. There are a lot of unhappy people that live here, but the reality is, but if you don't do something with that money to make a better airport, you will long-term kill yourself. So we gotta make the airport better. As the airport's better, more people will be here, we can do food trucks, we can do better, but you gotta offer something too. And we're in a government thing, we're not in a private. We would sit around the room and say, I think we ought to do this or that. We'd borrow the money, we'd do it, and we would do it. In a government, it's a little different. They have to justify a certain amount of money. I mean, am I wrong, Don, or is that totally?
No, that's my attitude. that we
And they
have-
gotta listen to the on-airplane tenants. out
Think
there that
about
start
Palatka.
complaining.
Yeah, think about it.
what percentage of the
This is Putnam
constituents
County,
of
this is
the
Palatka.
city commission
Yeah.
fly airplanes or like airplanes?
Exactly.
Not great.
It's only Palatka, it's not Putnam County. Palatka. Pretty tough. They do a good
Angles
job.
have a food truck. Y'all have a food truck. Well, I'll be out here. Try it out. Let's try it out one week.
It's doing too good where it is. I don't have one. I just help somebody, again.
It's doing too good where it
I
is.
just help them.
Out of your heart, though, you can bring it out here. So that's driving your decision.
I'm just helping, like a sponsorship. They're doing. Just helping them. do the
You can
same
save Christmas with Santa Claus. Might as well do
I know,
it.
right?
Save the airport.
thing. That's why I was late. No, picked on.
Never gonna stop.
You were so good. I got stuff.
I got stuff on you too.
Oh.
Wow.
Let's get
We got
extra.
2 minutes left.
Okay, now.
Any other comments before we close?
I'm scared to. Nice, positive presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice place is clean, looks good, people are happy.
Being ran professional.
Wow. That's nice. Okay,
Perfect
well,
timing.
yes, it is. I will entertain a motion to close.
Motion to adjourn.
What happened to the food? We used to eat.
We said if Wayne would pay for it and sponsor it, we'd eat it.
He'll bring you one of some of those little wooden dollars and give them to you if you want.
You want me to bring you some angels, hamburgers?
Oh, you got like 2 minutes.
Thank you for-
Why, sure.